like it's so great just reconnecting with you, in this way. And while we're waiting for Scott, Mr. Host, to jump in and take it away with you. And yeah, so keeping it just real and organic, what goes on a little bit behind the scenes. So what are you excited? Oh, there is Scott. All right.
Oh,
Scott,
it looks like we're live.
we are live.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. So
Thank you
the
for
first thing I
bearing
want,
with me.
the
Thank you
first thing
for
I want to say, the first thing I want to say is this was really unique, Antonia. I was like, I had to write it down. I said, I'm such a control freak. I was all stressed out for the past hour, just thinking about the possibility there's going to be a technical breakdown because I'm not in control. And then, soon as I found out you guys were going through one, I was like, peaceful, like, oh, wow. Just because, that's my codependency, I was so concerned about you guys and the fact that I couldn't help but rescue you. I felt so bad, and it's like, I felt peaceful knowing you were in a crisis and not me. So maybe that means I'm selfish. That's what I've just been through. Hello.
Hi there. We were having a ball.
Samina hides her stress so well. She's so good. And grace under storm, grace under pressure.
I always say, Scott, no matter what's going on, always stay in the calm eye of the storm. And when we do that, everything works out really well. So,
oh yeah, we all know that. And then sometimes like you're just in the momentum you're in, you know what's going on, you can't stop it, you're stuck like an addiction, right? But yeah. So this is Passion Projects Light, and I was also present to, oh my God, I'm not feeling passionate right now, and I don't want to like force it. So maybe I'll start with you.
okay.
What are you maybe present to that's not a project per se, like a commercial, but like what are you present to in terms of something you could be passionate about right now and start moving that energy into the conversation? Because I'm totally not into it right now. I'm just like a little bit scared, putting on a show and hiding it well.
No problem. And thank you again for letting me connect with you guys again. It's an amazing time in the world, and I love anyone that has a help or care focus on others. It's just a thing for me, because I think the world would always be a better place if we start to really reach out. So many people are self-focused as we see them walking down the street on the phones and they're in day-to-day life, that they don't take the time to glance and to interconnect. So my hope, Scott, is always to help people to be more aware of themselves, their connection to others, the world, and the universe. It's to me all connected. And then we, like I said, we grow like we see Mother Earth growing beautifully. It's supposed to help us to respond, to grow as well. And no fear about the growth and change, just allow us to flow and be more flexible. So it's important to me because I want to make sure that we recognize and realize that we really need to care and concern ourselves, Scott, with the kids. Okay. That's our generation. In 30 years, they're going to run the world. So if we don't take care of them now, there's a problem. And so that self-focusing that people tend to do, we have to understand that they're looking for our guidance, our protection, our love and care. And I don't know if people recognize this, but 260 million kids around the world are not even in school right now, whether it's due to the disasters or certain situations in their life or their family. But remember, 260 million. And again, that's important because that's, future generations. We have to always look ahead. As the Native American Aboriginal Society always says, 7 generations forward, we should be doing what is necessary for them. And so I noticed that they're kind of emulating when I see little kids on cell phones already.
What do they want? Like, as I'm hearing you, I'm like, it sounds like coming at it from the place of this concern or worry.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the way to do it might be like finding out, and I have no idea the answer, what's their vision for the future? Like, what concerns or worries do they have? Are they even concerned about this? Are we maybe putting the fear in them? Like, I don't know. I don't know anything about this.
Okay, what I think happens is for children, as a parent, you're supposed to guide them. With no guidance, how can I say it? We're looking for anything to happen with no, and I'm not saying we need an ordered world or a chaotic world. What I am saying is children naturally look toward the adult world from their parents outward for love, care, compassion, protection. And if everybody is focused on their stuff that they're going on in their life and not the child, we have some problems to look at. And I think that's what the child is wondering. Well, what I'm not, and so the child will emulate what we're doing. So we have a world, if we look ahead, and that's my specialty, as a psychic in my life, literally as my real work, we have to remember they're going to reflect that same thing. So expecting differences is not going to happen if we don't share in our highest. How are they expecting? You see little ones and they'll emulate whatever it is. Oh, there was a YouTube just recently, or a little blurb, I guess, on Facebook. And it was a little girl. She had to be 12 to 18 months old, just standing and walking. She was in her diaper. And one of her parents must have caught her in the bathroom. And she had stepped on the scale. Probably the dad did this. Well, who knows? She stepped on the scale facing the wall. And she turned around. She looked down at the scale and she went, and looked down the scale, alarmed, and turned toward the camera. And I realized, oh my God, she's emulating either mom or somebody she's seen step on the scale. And she thought it was cute, but she was just doing a natural emulation, as they all do. That's how they learn speech. That's how they learn to do everything. And I thought, oh my goodness, she's watching. So we have to be more aware of what they're seeing. So if we want to get a better world, perhaps we have to be better in what we do, how we treat ourselves, how we treat others, and especially how we treat them. So expecting them to run wild, and we see that, in societies, we see that where children don't have any guidance due to poverty or whatever. We see that for decades now in Brazil. We see where they kind of are put out of the household from 2 to 4 years old, and they roam wild on the streets in Brazil, so much so that they're treated poorly and go through certain circumstances that children from those ages on should never have to go through, because the poverty level there is so poor that their parents can't afford to even keep them. So they're put out of the home at that age. And so we have, feral children, so to speak. And so there's always a warning for people I've known that live or travel in Brazil, and I know many of them, that they have to be careful. And because they are doing whatever they need to survive, like little packs of feral children. And I thought that's wrong for human society. We're supposed to be evolving to improve. And if we really look around, we have to notice that there has to be more care, more look toward them, because they're just watching us. So that's been going on for decades down there. So, and then I see places, that are overcrowded, and again, poverty level, but differences when they see that the mother and dad have to work. The child in China, you'll see a 3-year-old child taking care of the 18-month-old child, cooking in the wok, caring for the child, making sure the child is dressed and fed. So there's a difference based on how a society tends to treat their children. So it's, and then, if we go back decades through history, where, during the industrial age at the turn of the 20th century, 1900s, early 1900s, the kids were put in factories to work. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. So we have this wonderful industrial age, but at what cost today? So we can only move forward in the future in the highest ways if we really look carefully and learn, not beat ourselves up, learn as we observe. I want to do that better. And so my take is on life every day. As a human, we're supposed to learn to be better. What can I do better today? Myself, not to compete with somebody else, not compare myself with anybody else. How can I do better with what I'm doing?
Hey, let me jump in so that we stay true to the post where, I do my best to make sure it's not like an actual interview. I want to come back to this whole conversation, but I made a note because I honestly wanted to know. And Samina, yeah, I got present to you. You've been a show host for such a long time, like at a time when you actually had to be good to be one.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you had a successful show. I mean, you still have that show, and like you've made it through the years when you had to have talent. Like now, anybody can go, and it's like you didn't have to be good, right? You didn't have to be a pro. You didn't have to be fast on your think, an amazing interviewer, like amazing like you are. What was that like?
For me or Samina, are you speaking to?
Sorry for you, Antonia.
Okay, so I knew it's funny because before each show, when nobody else was doing it, I'm sure I hope other people are.
Yeah, like if Samina and I were trying to do what you did, we would not even be allowed on we would be a joke. We wouldn't even get a freaking interview. So that's what I mean. What was that like? That when the industry was like however it was for you? Because I honestly don't know.
Well, what happened was I knew that I had a purpose to help, and I used my radio shows, as a way to educate. That was my whole point. How can I educate or share? And to me, educate means share the knowledge you have to impart it to others who may resonate, so we can all grow. It's not what I know, and no, it's to share the information. That to me was what education is. So I remember the name. I didn't even know what the name of my show was going to be in the first show. And it was called All That I Am. I thought, well, I know it's kind of a mantra, but I feel like that should be the name. And I went on, and the radio station was like, wow. And in a very short time, it was amazing. And they were having numbers that were huge. They said, you're doing as well in just a few weeks as our #1 broadcaster does. And
what was the name again? What was the name again?
It was called All That I Am at KFOX out of Los Angeles, 92.5 FM.
All That I Am. I love it. All That I Am. It sounds like transparency and not a show. All That I Am.
So they didn't quibble with the name that I wanted. That was a shock.
It's a great name. It's a great name. Wow.
So I would have, guests on and about a subject matter that I thought that they should share with the audience. And so we would have, regular landline, mainstream or terrestrial radio, it was called. Literally, you have maybe 20 to 30,000 listeners on average if the show is working. And so that was great. They were shocked that the numbers were up there. And they had their little interview, and you have you cue, you have to do this for the commercial and all that good stuff. And I had that sucker down, and the stage manager was like, wow, okay. So it was wonderful because it was before I would start the show, before they would count in, I would always take that moment to ask to be guided by the universe as to what I should open and share as I would start the topic or open to the guest. And I never had preformed questions. I thought that was hard and strict. You know what I mean? So I wanted it to be free flowing. I thought any little seed kernel of information, maybe somebody needs to hear at that exact time. So in the divine timing of that exact moment, so it could come and flow, and the audience or the would be at peace or at flow, because you know how they like to hear, like listening on the other end, like a fly on the wall to the conversation that's going on. And so the guests would be engaged, and I had people that were well known as people that weren't known but had something to share, and so that was really important. And then I was guided in a strong way to do it again with another format with my radio show again called, which I'm still currently doing, Beyond the Here and Now. But it's the digital age this time instead of terrestrial radio that started to fail. The digital age took over, and the station manager was phenomenal because he picked up on it. So we were the actual Lockheed Martin old station for that corporation. We took, and it was KYHY FM 92.5. The shock, Scott, was when I interviewed for the position. I didn't know that their call letters were 92.5, the same call letters that I'd had from before in another area. So I thought that was odd. How can that synchronicity happen? Because they interviewed me and I did all this. I had to do an audition. They'd been auditioning for broadcasters and had to go for, more interviews. And they didn't believe, they said on your, CV here, it says your previous station was, 92.5. And they said, do you know the call letters for this one? I said, no, I don't, because it was the broadcast company, Title Broadcasting. And sure enough, they said it was 92.5. And I thought it was a joke from the universe to me. I thought, they did it again. So it's a way to teach and share. But this guy was awesome because he was on the crest before the digital age was taking off. He took it and he put it on every station that the United States had military bases all over the world. Out of 20 to 30,000 listeners, they were getting 95,000 per show. It was like wrecking all the servers that he had on. It was crazy.
Wow.
It was independent. He would have to, how they have, okay, we have more than, and we could see the actual numbers. And then they calculate it. And land radio, because you only get it when you're driving in the morning for 20 minutes to work or 30, 45 minutes on your drive there and back. But he found we had a retention like 3 to 4 hours of retention with those kind of numbers. And that's unheard of.
Wow.
So because with the digital age, they could
on Facebook, if you get 300 views, you had nobody watch the whole thing. 300 views means 300 seconds. Who knows what it means?
And this was without video. And so it still was like radio, but taken over to just the.
Okay. This came to me this morning. I was going to Google it. And I thought, no, I don't want to know anything. In meditation, just before coming on here, non-linear conversations, seemingly unrelated topics, but for the ADHD mind, they're all related. But anyway. Oh, yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, there we go. ADHD right there. If Samina were to produce like a StreamYard production like this for a pilot show for you, 4 episodes for free, what do you think would be the show? It's your show, your name, you host it, you don't host it, just for fun. If there's something we could do, take advantage of this technology, Samina does it during like time that is like her spare time. I know she'd love to. I already know. I don't even have to ask her if she would. Because if she said no, then I do it because that's how certain I am she would love to. What do you think could be a theme that you'd love to have 4 episodes on Facebook through, your channels, our channels, and just have fun with something? 4 shots. What do you think?
Well, I think that would be great. And you're asking what I would focus on, or? Yeah.
Like maybe you don't even know, but like, what do you think you'd have the topic be, or
believe it or not, I'm out of the box, okay? And all my life.
I know. Yeah. It's Samina. I'm going to take over and have you join the conversation too, so you could be present with us.
What I want people to understand or to realize is I like people to be aware of reality and have a better attitude or perspective about reality.
So Samina, I got the technology right now, so you could just be present with us. I got the technical right now. Sorry, go ahead. Continue.
So what I would like to do is to make sure that the audience is aware of reality without any fear. Okay, that's the one thing. People don't realize we're supposed to learn to get rid of our fears. If you got a fear of spiders at the end of this life, you really promise to get rid of that fear. So you don't have to force yourself. It'll be in the right timing, so to speak. But I would really like to get across to the audience about the changes in the world. When Mother Earth, your home, is making changes in herself, it's called growth. And it's supposed to be organically inspiring us for growth, not fear about Mother Earth. And not fear about us growing. So if we'd look I always say we'd look kind of silly if all of us had the same clothes on that we had when we were 3 years old. Right now, we'd all look really silly. So we have to adapt to growth and change, but in a realistic, calm way, not shocked and frightened. And so that's
Mhm.
important to me to get that out there, because the beauty is that this is this normal, natural cycle of earth growth and change that's outside our known history. So it doesn't mean freak out. It doesn't mean be in denial and hide and run. No, it means let's just flow with this sucker. So it reminds me of if you were surfing, if you were catching a wave, you wouldn't just freak out because, oh, the wave is coming. You would get on and you just go for it. You know what I mean? You'd enjoy it. Now, at first it may be a little kind of unusual, but then you would enjoy the flow. And then you might be out there every day catching that wave or whatever the passion might be. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But when we first look at it, we kind of feel a little anxious. So not to be anxious, but we're supposed to really flow. And I want people to understand we're not this body. We do take care of it, but it houses something even better called our soul. And that's what we're really about. So this is a nice vessel we're supposed to keep in gear. You guys are working out and doing your workouts physically and then mentally sharing and caring. And it's
Mhm.
supposed to be about that same kind of growth for all of us. But we don't stop growing. We continue the growth. And along with Mother Earth, be stimulated by what she's doing. She's expanding in lots of ways. And she's changing her perspective angles, literally. So not
Mhm.
to get shocked and frightened, to be able to adapt to change. And
Mhm.
I always think about the fact that, our ancestors before then, they came across oceans that they'd never been through, not sure what was going to be on the other side. And they were just had this literally passion inside just to get to the other side, to make whatever was there, to accept it, all that was new, and just make a world. And look what happened, So, and this was long before the colonists started to come to the US. They started to do it
Mhm.
from several islands in the Pacific, or a place they'd come on an outrigger to get across the water on a platform with just a little, awning, and just learning to use the star maps. And they
Mhm.
would go and conquer it without you take whole families and chickens, to start a new world somewhere else. And that's how we populate. So it's part of the human spirit to flow with change, not to
Mhm.
resist change.
Mhm. What
So they were growing because
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, I interrupted you. I Go ahead,
I was just
sorry.
going to say
No,
they were growing.
what's your
The
question,
people,
Savita? Go
the
ahead.
Oh, I didn't
travelers
wanna
would grow
interrupt,
too because they would learn.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. I'm curious, Antonia, because since I've known you now for what, 2 years? It feels longer.
Yes,
You came on my
yes,
first platform, 11:11. This is your first passion project slide in this form, right? The
yes.
11:11 was in person. And since the day like I met you, you're just so peaceful, so like great energy. And I'm so glad we were able to just maintain that connection, even though may have moved different paths or whatever, but you're always like there on my Facebook lives, hey, cheering me on. And I say it's because of you. I get sleep.
And that's exactly why I threw that out. That let's produce a show for her if she wanted to,
Yeah,
and we'll help her. Because you know what, the amount of time she has
I
given
know.
you,
And
it's hours. The amount of
that's her
sleep she's given you.
contribution.
This woman has contributed to your well being mentally and physically. This is not a joke. I know that seems like a joke, Antonio, but
Yeah,
seriously,
Yeah.
this is the first time I can ignore. I can just tell you I owe you, even though I don't owe you. I owe you, and I'm gonna show my appreciation in as many ways as I can figure out.
yeah.
It,
Yeah,
thank
exactly.
you for that.
So my question, sir, was also in contrary to that, what makes you so peaceful?
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, it's a really important thing, I think. I know it's going to sound strange, but I believe we have a duty to always remain in that, I mentioned earlier, the calm eye of the storm, no matter what, to continue to learn and to give what we have. I think it's wrong. And what I watched you do all the couple of years was you continue to give and you continue to grow. I thought, look at her go.
Mhm.
And it was a process. And I thought, wow, she it took on that to continue to help others. And I know it sounds strange, but a lot of that's a small portion of the population that is helping
Mhm.
others. So what I saw you do is continue to go out there no matter what. And then when you took this beautiful format this way, I thought, oh, no driving. We can not contribute to the pollution, the stress levels on the freeway. We can allow all that good stuff. It was
Mm.
awesome. So I thank you for the opportunity. But I watched you grow in these last 2 years. And then when she cut her hair and it looked all cool, I thought, look at her. So it was people don't realize when we cut our hair, we actually, metaphysically speaking, we actually change our way of thinking. And I thought, look at her, she's just on it. So
Mm.
I was pleased with what you were doing. And also, I think it's an important part to people. What you do inspires others to come out of their space about just themselves and relate to others. And I think some people have lost that. Most people don't know who their next door neighbor's name is,
Mm.
and that's kind of sad. So we're doing, like I said, almost like it reminds me of Mr. Rogers' uh,
Mhm.
neighborhood that we're out putting out to the world. This kind of hello,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
so people can see it worldwide and start to want to relate. And so you relate with people all over the world, so you don't limit it as well. And
Mm.
it's
Thank you.
important.
Yeah, thank you. Wow, that's so gracious and generous. Thank you so much. And back to you. I don't have a
And
specific. I
so I
know.
just give you guys a heads up. What I'm going to do is, in about 15 minutes, I'll make a sound like this. And that just means somebody starts to wrap it up at whatever pace you want. Let's say another 10 minutes, after that. Sound good?
Sounds good.
So, yeah, so Antonia, just like if there's anything, I mean, I know you probably came on with no expectations, knowing you, just wanting to, be you and sharing the experience. And like I said, we're relaunching Passion Projects Light. And it's like a huge part of the story. And you've been there, I feel like, my journey two years ago or so, coming on to 11/11. But if there's anything you want to share for yourself, having this opportunity right now that you really want, I don't know how to put it, people to know out there, a special message, or what makes Antonia Antonia. Like, say if this was, not that it is, but say if this was your last opportunity, you're on air, and this was your last, you knew if someone told you you're never going to go on air again, even though that's not true.
Oh wow.
What would you really want to go out and share, like that, your die hard, whether it's a passion, a heart, just you have the floor.
Okay, basically, I would want people to know, if this is my absolute, and we know it's not, but if it was my absolute, I would want people to know that you have one soul that lives forever. And we get in these cute bodies and nationalities and gender for experience, for soul growth. That's the real purpose for being here. Not our stuff. We're not going to take our money, our titles, our stuff. We're going to take soul growth. And we promise to leave the world better than when we came. So I'm hoping people, in their own way, will learn more about that and their relationship to the universe. Not just their neighbor, but expanding themselves out to meet the part of themselves that they may have forgotten for a long time now. And I want people to understand they need to realize that these beautiful changes unfolding are absolutely gorgeous, believe it or not, depending on the attitude we take, Um, like some man's trash is another person's, like I said, treasure. The
Mm-hmm.
same way we should see it as earth. This we should treasure her, treasure ourselves, and treasure that component that people don't want to talk about, and that's soul
Mm-hmm.
growth. We're all three, mentally,
Mm-hmm.
physically, and spiritually. Try to maintain the balance, raise our spiritual awareness to match our high intelligences and our physicality to match all that.
Mm-hmm.
Then we grow for
Mm-hmm.
everybody. We spark onto one another. We're energy. So we're energetically, every time we walk, our field of energy is walking with us and running into and bumping into everybody else's energy field, whether it's just through eye contact, or whether it's through a voice, or through the media of digital age now. We're still reaching, we're still feeling people. So I want them to understand, just again, continue to grow, be your best and highest, and in the calm, always stay in the calm eye of any storm in your life or in the world. Then your intuition can pick up and know where to go, what to do, how to act, and then take action on that intuition. The trick is to make sure the actions are always headed on a positive wavelength, and that's going to be a key for everybody. We're not isolated. We're all really connected. I think people are finally realizing that.
Yeah.
If that was my last moment on the air, I want them to remember that.
Awesome. And what else are you up to? Thanks for sharing that, by the way. But what are some of the new things you're up to that you want to share? Because, it's also a chance for me to really connect with you and Scott,
Yes.
because it's organic. Even
Yeah.
Scott,
Yeah, what a good point.
But,
That's what's fake. What
pretend
have you been up to? What have you been up to?
Working. What happens is my life is working. I know it sounds.
Yeah, let's talk about your work. My God, what have you been up to? Wow, we suck. I was a terrible host. Oh my God.
You're good. You're good. It all happens in the way. But ultimately, what I'm up to, I'm literally up to. I'm trying to make sure that I have a housing process, housing for kids, for schools, for housing that is disaster proof, that a family can put up a home in 30 minutes that lasts for a couple hundred years. And I was guided to research all this since I guess it was like 2000, and kept running into connections and processes, and then weeding out things that didn't work to formulate it for what I felt would work organically better for everybody, and trying to get it out to the masses on a mass scale. So that's the biggie, because kids, and especially, as I said at the top of the beginning with Scott, 260 million kids are without a place to go, just sitting in disaster, not worrying, wondering, and they're looking for the adults. They're like, well, what are we going to do? So ultimately, we give them a safe place to play together, learn together, grow together, and feel safe. And literally, it's a really important thing. People have to recognize that's important. So those kids, and that focus with the home or house or family. So ultimately, we don't recognize, because we're so busy with our own lives. We don't look outside to see what's happening in the world, or with all those kids. I know it sounds strange, but we were kids once, and inside we should stay eternally kids, so we continue to grow. They don't stop growing, but they need our love and comfort and direction and care, so they can continue to get their little downloads to help grow and feel safe. And isn't that our promise, to help them be protected and help them find a semblance of love and balance, so they can again impart what their gifts and talents are to the world? And that's how we grow. And see, the whole point is, they're kind of like, well, what do we do? And do we have to deal with this only? And I want them to have the best quality of life, not the least quality of life. So with the project, it's called Habitus Building Systems, but it can not only make homes, but schools and medical facilities, and grow domes for food, which is an issue, but organic food, because they got to, eat something beside, processed Twizzlers and stuff that we see that's advertised all the time. And we want them to have that richness that our great grandparents and grandparents and parents may have taught us about eating real, that nutrition that comes from the earth. So our grow domes produce like hundreds of acres of food in any weather, to in any environment, 3 times faster, organic rich food without need for the tools, and in that small space. It's crazy. And so we need to adapt. So I want kids to meditate with the plants. I want them to learn that, and be in symbiosis with nature, Mother Nature included. So
that's beautiful. Speak about contribution. What was your Speaking of kids, what was your childhood like, Antonia? Do you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Sure.
Negative, positive, whatever you want to share.
I'm going to share. I know I seem all smile and everything, but Jesus, I think that was something my soul brought in to survive. I came from a family that was raised with upper middle class values, with extremely low income monies. Okay. Can you imagine that? And an academic-based family that didn't think anything spiritual like this. And I was a psychic kid since I was 5. Okay.
Mm.
So we didn't discuss this. So I was really into the academia and reading, and I was all advanced in school and stuff very early. And so I came from a household that was a very firm, strong little mom, that was very, very strong. Men 6'6" would, how could I say it, shake if she came to them. She had no fear. And what she taught us, with not with monetary things or things that didn't matter. She said, I learned from her, just from her style, that what you have inside, you can make anything happen in your world. Just take what you are inside. So we were never given compliments, not about how we looked, not about our grades. We had better get all A's. It was a necessity, otherwise you were killed. Physical, in those days it was the physical, and I was like a quiet, shy kid, real quiet. And so I had to learn, with this beautiful quality of being psychic, how it can be utilized for the benefit of myself and humankind. But I did that at a very early age. And I'm a hard and fast skeptic because of the academic base of the family. So I don't believe anything lightly. There's a lot of garbage out there. So it takes me a long time before I'll open my, I'll study and research to prove and confirm, but deep levels, never superficially, like really deep. I'll get in there. And then I always, oh my God, it's real. And then I have to try it. And then I have always had that connection since childhood, this psychic ability. And that's not to amuse me in my home. I found, learned, and confirmed later, after I'd started doing it, this kid that wanted to be a doctor, that was really smart in every class in school all the way through, graduated early and all that good stuff. But scholarship to university, big deal. It was this gift that was supposed to come out being psychic. Who knew? Until it kept coming. And so the trick was to be the highest and best of whatever you do, whether it's my psychic work, whatever I was doing. I had a background, have a 5-octave vocal range, and acting and singing, piece of cake, creative stuff, easy peasy, interior design, all that good stuff. But it was that quality that was the gift to the world that I found on a soul level that I was supposed to give. So I've done over 50,000 readings in my career, and that's rare, and that's a low estimate. But that's to help someone else grow and inspire them, not about me. It's to inspire them to be their highest and best. I have a duty, not my opinion. I know sounds strange, but I actually see and hear the person's guide / guardian angel. And that's kind of freaky for people. It's freaky for me when it happened. I thought, what the heck is that? But I realize it's that component that we don't talk about or aren't taught. And so my duty is to help share that to humankind, that this is a part of our lives to be utilized properly and in the highest ways. So, it's kind of interesting. So it's not like the storefront gypsy kind of thing. It's for soul growth and life, to achieve your highest best along your life path. And so you don't advertise it. But with that, my clients are celebrities, doctors, lawyers, major corporate heads, VPs. It's kind of crazy. But I ask the universe to guide those souls to the table, so to speak, that they have information for. And I won't even know the subject matter, but the guides do. And those people apply that stuff, and they're calling back or writing back for years later. Oh my God, this happened. It's been great. So it's kind of a nice thing to see their lives grow. That's the best.
Hey, I don't know your process, so say no for sure. Could Samina ask you an inspired question and see what happens? Or
sure. Let's do a little mini read. Sure. But I'm going to ask a specific question, not a general one. Don't say world peace. Something specific.
Okay. Wow. Inspired question. Just anything?
Anything, and it'll answer by yes, no, or maybe. One of those, and I'll.
Okay, so just going through the process. You mean anything? A question about myself or about
Whatever you want, yourself, the world, whatever. But about usually it's best for you.
Okay, that'll be interesting. I'm on the spot, but thanks, Scott.
No problem.
I had another question I wanted to ask.
You're
I'm like, hey, like I said, it's all organic. Okay, I gotta think about what is it I can ask Antonia. And let's see. This may kind of be a general question or a sound, I don't know, but I'll just ask it. It's what
I'll help
comes
you
to
formulate
mind.
a more specific one.
Okay, where do you
I'll
feel
help you form it more specific.
my path is headed? Even though I think I know, but
Okay, that is general.
yeah,
My
yeah,
real reading is like 1 hour long, so we'll do a little short mini here. So
sure.
let's ask, I'm
Can you
going to
give me an
suggest this and see if it feels
example?
good to you.
Sure.
Okay, an example, you can see if this fits. You want to ask, would it be best for the greatest highest good of your soul to continue on your path so you can reach a particular outcome you're thinking in your mind right now? Do you have that outcome that you'd like to see happen? Or
Yeah.
is that too general for you? Okay, let's
Yeah.
ask if you continue. Is that good?
Sorry, I didn't. You just cut off there. Can you just repeat the?
Okay.
Yeah.
You might want to ask, would it be best for the greatest highest good of my soul?
Let me interrupt, Samina. I think honestly, inside your soul, the thing that you question is still a little bit about money.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good.
Like
Let's go on that one.
I think something
Okay.
that is a real kind of question your mind's asking yourself that is screwing
Yeah.
with your head. I think that's kind of what that would be a real question for you.
Well, thank
Good
you, Scott.
suggestion.
Scott knows me so well. I think I was just filtering my question. Just, but yeah,
Good.
being real and transparent. Yeah, it is still a constant thing in my mind. I mean, much better, how I think about it, of course, and how it was. It doesn't paralyze me, but yeah, just a question about. Maybe you can help me out with this
Can
question, Tonya.
I
Yeah,
suggest something then about that subject?
sure.
Okay, I'm going to suggest. You want to know, will you reach a certain financial level, and think of one realistically in your head that you feel that you'd like to reach between now and the next 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years. What
Okay,
does
so I
your
can
time
be that
frame you feel?
specific. Okay. So I can
Yeah,
ask you. Okay.
yeah.
Oh,
Think of the amount in your head.
okay. Um,
Feel how happy. Don't worry about how you're going to get there. How happy that would make you.
will I
If
read?
you have it, you're thinking that. Don't say it out loud though.
Oh, okay. So I just think.
Non-verbally, I want you to address it to the divine universe in your own way. If you continue on the path where you're headed, will you reach this financial level that you're thinking about in your mind between now and what time frame are we going to use, Samina? What time frame would you like?
So do I say it out loud, the time frame, or
Yeah,
just
you
in?
can. In the next 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years, 2 years, 1 year.
Say in a month.
Between now and the next month, and be realistic about the level in your head.
Yeah, between now and let's say before December 1st.
Okay, let's ask, will this come to pass financially? Will you reach that level? Feel how happy that would make you. But in your heart right now, you're addressing it to the universe, not mere you for the answer, because we're like humans. We want their input. And then really concentrate, okay? 1 second, please. And what I do is I use, I hear and see. I'm psychic, clairvoyant, clairaudient, all that good stuff, all the clairs. But I just use the tarot, astrology, numerology, palmistry, graphology. I know all those sciences very well as a third point of reference because it's your life. So I want 3 things going on at least, they're showing me, telling me. Now, Samina, on the path where you're headed, this is interesting because it comes up as a maybe, and there is a reason why. It could have said no. So this is good because I don't want to leave you with a maybe, but with a maybe, it shows me right now the divine universe is working to clear personal karmic debt because they see you doing some good. They're saying, oh, she didn't have to do. She can skip over this and we'll give her good accolades, good opportunity. So without you realizing it, the goosebumps you're starting to get, that's your own guide, guardian angel, letting you know what you thought about or talked about or is being stated or said right now is very important to know, to pay attention to. And so it shows me your attitude right now is why it's a maybe. And so they're showing me your perspective. If you open and make a compromise as to how this is supposed to come and work with the universe in your own way, you have exceptional opportunity coming up. It shows me your human side thinks it's way down the line at some point, but absolutely it's coming rapidly. And it shows me, I understand there's been disappointment in the past, but they said you want to focus on the good dynamic things, and that brings you more good dynamic. You see, $1 is the same as $1 million to the universe. It's equally the same. So with enough money, we tend to complete our missions in the world. If we're worried about the rent and all that stuff, car payments, we'll never get it done. We'll keep worrying about that stuff. But our mission in this world right now usually takes income opportunity. to complete our passions, complete our mission. And so that's what you want the universe to bring into you as well, to be open to receive. If you're always giving, 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 you have to remember to remind yourself to open to receive from the universe. So ultimately, that's how it happens. And so here, it's showing me the divine universe's input on this is literally when the mind is filled with focus on spirituality in your own way. And what I mean is if you see the starry night and look up Samina and say, God, that is gorgeous. It goes, Samina connected, the divine universe states. And they recognize and they bring you more connection to the cosmos, that you recognize you're part of this whole system. Those stars are made of the same things you are. Literally, when you realize if you look at the back of a leaf, the vein structure, you have that connection. And every time you do that, they reward you with nice checkbook balances, nice unexpected good fortune, good love in the life, good opportunity for you. And so I know also it shows me on the mind that you're wondering about life and a family, if that'll ever come to you and all that stuff. That's an opportunity, believe it or not. So believe it or not, life happens while we're making plans, right? But your soul has made a beautiful design plan beforehand. And it shows literally that a gentleman that is a businessman, highly respected, is a positive support of you. I think I know who that is. And it shows me here on the pathway headed to open your perspective by keeping the connection. Remember, we're mind, body, and soul here. If you look at the sun and go, wow, that's just absolutely stunning, that sky, the sunset, they reward you every time they go, oh my God, she connected again. And so they do it in the material way, believe it or not. Most people don't take the time. Most people don't take the time to let that flow come in. So it exists on our planet. It's the medium that we use right now to get our missions out for many others. So I'm going to pick this up really quick as a confirmation. And I'm only going to ask you to rethink it. If you apply this new perspective and connect between now and the next December 1st, did you say? You want to know
December 1st. Yeah.
Feel how happy that. Don't worry about how it's going to happen. If you connect to the universe in your way, will this come in? And then let's see what's going to happen. Think of that way. Feel how happy. Just feel in your heart, Samina.
And you are kind of being that right now. She really is in that. She's really most of the day just focused on appreciation and feeling good. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of that.
The answer is yes. The more you do that, it shows me that action was a key. It shows me coming in this month is another opportunity for you to make more income. I'm not kidding. And it shows me it's a divine opportunity. That's what we wanted to happen. Money comes best from the divine universe. Okay, that's how it really comes. So it shows me an opportunity is coming between now and the next month, Samina, just on this kind of focus on bringing you opportunity to make a large amount, not a little. A large opportunity of income stream. I heard the word say income stream. We're talking about streaming today, but it shows that opportunity. And it shows me someone that has a water sign strong in the birth chart will be supportive of that. Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio, could be their sun and moon or rising or personal planets, but someone that has a spiritual connection that will be helpful. But what I love is you're seeing life with this new rich perspective. See, they're giving a download of information when you connect to them. Whether it's the sunset or the stars, I go, wow, the crisp air, the wind, whatever it is, you're thinking, wow, that's beautiful. It's traveling around the world. We're all in the world breathing the same air. Oh my goodness. You know what I mean? So ultimately, every time you do that, here it is. The answer is it's a yes, like this thing coming in, but keep the perspective going, keep it opening. So you know that it's kind of like I always say and this is not a belief, it's actually here. It's something you have that we have this brilliant connection to the divine universe, like money in the bank that your soul hasn't gained from good efforts from past. You got some good stuff coming. You have to recognize and bring that sucker in. So when somebody gives you a compliment, be open to say thank you, because it's really coming from the universe to you. Or when someone offers to give you something, take it, because it's a gift. And literally, and this is just a mini read for right now. Sorry, but it's showing me you're opening your tendency towards self-sabotaging behavior to be rescinded for the rest of your life. So that's a good thing. We all have those issues inside ourselves we're working on for self-sabotage. And this is showing you you're pushing it aside. You're growing past that little barrier. So money flows where energy goes, that old saying, but it's true. Okay, that's why the elite have so much. They just haven't remembered to hand it out to the rest of us. So it shows that opportunity is here. You're aware of it. Expand your thinking about how this flow of income or monies are supposed to come to you, not the way you might think, but ask the universe to supply. Don't keep it a one focus. From where, in the highest way, from this source that it could flow to you. Allow it to come from the highest points. Because if you do so, it shows me that new perspective, that fresh start gives you that, no matter what other people say. But I'm serious about that. So, and I always say this, I didn't believe this years ago because I thought this is garbage they're teaching us. Money has an energy. For every dollar you spend or pay out for some gum, you know what I mean? Say in your mind that you magnetize it to come back tenfold. That is $10 coming back in your life. For every bill you pay, rent, magnetize all the rent you've paid to come back tenfold. Guess what happens? All the money you spent at the grocery store, back tenfold. The universe goes, cha-ching. It does it. I didn't believe it. First year, double my income. Second year, triple it. The second year, I thought, oh, what the heck? So I've taught or shared that with my clients, and they apply it, and it's real. So you say to yourself, may it, what you're giving out or paying out, may it return to me tenfold. It's just an energy. It operates under the laws of energy on the planet, the divine energy. It's just paper anyway, right now. But it comes.
Yeah. No, I believe you. I know it's just, trusting and having faith in the universe. And like Scott said, spiritually I do. And then the humanity at times comes up, right? But hearing you say that someone who is into the energy and has, so divinely connected like that, really, just confirms it and helps.
Yes.
So yeah, I just have a question I want to
Sure.
ask you related to just what you were saying. I'll just ask it. Does this also relate to family as
Heard them
well?
say yes and no.
Mhm.
Yes, they said part of it is what you feel is your duty. Okay. No to the duty. You've already served your duty, so to speak. Okay. Yes to, how can I say it does pertain to family?
That was profound for Samina. No to the duty? Oh, you just put in words. No to the duty, Samina. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. You made such a huge transformation. You've been all guilt and duty. We were talking about that last week, and there's still a little bit, but for her to use those words, not like no one would be able to guess that you live your life like or have lived it like duty.
What happens is something you promise to overcome. If we overshare, it's giving over. Selflessness is just as bad as selfishness to the divine universe. They're the same, out of balance. So if you overdo, you're going to be called on the mat karmically, so to speak. Why did you do this? So you want to keep it in balance, and everybody should be inspired by your actions. If you've given duty, it's time for them to step up. You understand? And what you want to do is not just your own particular family, it expands to all families that you might reach and touch. Everybody has to be true to self as well as to family. And my family thought is your brothers and sisters are everybody you pass by at Walmart. That's your family.
Sabina, would you say, I think that you've transformed that duty stuff with customers. Like you used to do all this too much service. Now you seem like a real businesswoman now. And if there was any duty left, maybe there's a little bit with your family. I didn't really notice it because all I see is so much growth. But you think maybe that's what that duty is about, only that area?
Maybe a little bit, but I think more and thank you so much for saying that, Antonia. That was a huge contribution to me, right? But I wanted like is asking pertaining like you want your family to be happy and healthy.
That
Right?
thought alone and intention, yes, is all you
And
need.
that's also very important to me. Just like business, money coming in, when more money comes in, I feel there's more you can do, right?
Yes,
And more time you can spend with family. But
yes.
just I think when I'm not there with family, like I just want them to be happy and healthy. And to me, that's also the top of my list of most important. So that's what I was just asking in that room, if that makes sense, or does this even relate to family without going more specific?
Ultimately, that's good. And so ultimately what you're saying is you're still going to give that intention to them, but you
Mhm.
have your own life to live too. And at the end of this life, they're going to ask what you did with it. And so ultimately you want family. It's not saying let go of family. What it's saying is the priorities. You can take better care of everybody, including family, your in your business and everything else, if you take care of Samina first. So if
Mhm.
you're out of balance in that, the life will be out of balance. And so that's why I
Mhm.
was saying receiving, because money is something we receive. So you have to allow yourself to open to receive, not just to only give out to family. And so there's a time when, again, you have to understand that your own personal family is important, and always we're all connected to the family of humankind. So
Mhm.
as you keep reaching out to your brothers and sisters, it doesn't mean forget family. Your focus and purpose may be moving forward in a higher way, past or expanding beyond family.
Mhm.
So it doesn't mean let them go, don't love them any less. No, it means give that intention to them just like you're doing, but move forward in your own life as well, your perspective.
Mhm.
Again, what Scott had mentioned, the undertone I'm feeling is the guilt that you may owe. Perhaps in past life that might be the case. This lifetime, it's Samina's time to shine. So every time
Mhm.
you shine, in fact, all the achievements you make, you didn't realize this. Your parents get brownie points on a soul level. What they did or didn't do, what they may have, because life may have thrown them a ball of changes. Now, everything you achieve this lifetime, they get brownie points for as well as you on a soul level. So that's
Mhm.
your gift back for them giving you the breath of life. It's a
Mhm.
big thing. So every